The haunting of the Queen Mary, a ghost ship adrift in time. Docked permanently in Long Beach, California, the RMS Queen Mary is a majestic ocean liner with a storied past. Once hailed as the pinnacle of luxury sea travel, this grand vessel sailed the seas for decades, hosting royalty, dignitaries, and celebrities alike. However, beneath its gleaming facade and rich history lies a darker, more sinister side. Today, the Queen Mary is not only a hotel and tourist attraction but also one of the most haunted locations in the United States. Over the years, guests and staff have reported countless encounters with spirits, ghostly apparitions, and other unexplained phenomena aboard the ship. The Queen Mary has earned its reputation as a floating hotel of horrors, and its ghost stories continue to captivate and terrify all who dare to visit. The RMS Queen Mary was launched in 1936, intended to be the finest and most luxurious ocean liner of its time. With opulent ballrooms, grand dining halls, and state-of-the-art facilities, the Queen Mary symbolized the height of sophistication and elegance. The ship served a dual purpose, as a passenger vessel during peacetime and a troop transport ship during World War II. During the war, it earned the nickname the Grey Ghost for its speed and camouflaged appearance. The ship ferried tens of thousands of soldiers across the Atlantic, and it was during these wartime years that some of the most tragic and ghostly events took place. One of the most infamous incidents occurred on October 2, 1942, when the Queen Mary was involved in a deadly collision with the HMS Curaçao, a British cruiser acting as an escort ship. The Queen Mary, unable to stop in time, sliced through the Curaçao, cutting it in half. More than 300 men aboard the Curaçao were killed instantly, and their bodies were lost to the sea. It is said that the souls of these lost sailors still haunt the Queen Mary, their restless spirits unable to move on after their violent and unexpected deaths. But the hauntings aboard the Queen Mary are not limited to the tragic events of wartime. Over the decades, numerous deaths and strange occurrences have been reported aboard the ship, leaving behind a lingering aura of the supernatural. The ship's long and varied history, coupled with the tragedies that unfolded on its decks, has turned it into a haven for ghosts, and today, the Queen Mary is regarded as one of the most haunted places in the world. Perhaps the most well-known ghost aboard the Queen Mary is that of John Henry, a young crewman who tragically died in the ship's engine room. In 1966, during a routine drill, John was crushed by one of the ship's heavy watertight doors, door number 13, which sealed shut before he could escape. His death was swift and brutal, and since that day, visitors to the engine room have reported eerie encounters with John's spirit. Many claim to have seen a shadowy figure standing near door number 13, watching silently as people pass by. Others have felt an icy hand on their shoulder or heard disembodied voices echoing through the dark, claustrophobic corridors of the engine room. Some guests have even reported the sound of loud bangs or the door itself moving, as though John's spirit is still trying to escape his deadly fate. Another of the ship's most famous hauntings is that of Jackie, the ghost of a young girl who is said to haunt the ship's first-class swimming pool, a location that has become a focal point for paranormal investigators. Although no one knows for sure how or when Jackie died, many believe that she drowned in the pool during one of the ship's transatlantic voyages. Her playful spirit is often heard giggling or splashing in the now-empty pool, and some guests have reported seeing wet footprints appear mysteriously on the pool's deck, despite the pool having been drained decades ago. Jackie's presence is not the only one felt in the swimming pool area. Another ghost, that of a woman in a vintage bathing suit, has been seen wandering the pool deck. Described as elegant and ghostly pale, this apparition is believed to be the spirit of a first-class passenger who may have met her untimely end aboard the ship. Witnesses claim to see her pacing back and forth before disappearing into thin air. The third-class cabins are another area rife with reports of supernatural activity. Guests staying in these rooms have often reported strange sensations, including the feeling of being watched or the sudden appearance of cold drafts. One particularly notorious room is Stateroom B340, where numerous guests have fled in terror after experiencing paranormal encounters. Reports include sheets being yanked off the bed, the sound of knocking on the walls, and even the sensation of an unseen presence lying in bed next to them. Some guests have claimed to see a dark figure standing at the foot of the bed or caught glimpses of ghostly apparitions in the bathroom mirror. The activity in stateroom B340 became so intense over the years that the room was eventually sealed off from guests for decades, but it has since been reopened, offering the bravest visitors the chance to spend the night, if they dare. Another tragic and mysterious death aboard the Queen Mary was that of Captain William Stark, who mistakenly drank poison, believing it to be gin. According to the story, the steward handed Captain Stark a bottle of what he thought was gin, but it was actually cleaning fluid. The captain died a painful and agonizing death, and his spirit is said to still haunt the captain's quarters. Guests and staff have reported the overwhelming scent of burning, as if something were being incinerated, and some have heard the soft murmur of a man's voice, presumably Captain Stark, speaking in a low, unintelligible whisper. The Queen's Salon, once a magnificent ballroom where passengers danced and dined in opulent splendor, is now a hotbed of paranormal activity. Many visitors have reported seeing the figure of a woman in white, believed to be the ghost of a young woman who loved to dance aboard the ship. Described as graceful and beautiful, she is often seen twirling alone on the empty dance floor before disappearing into the shadows. The haunting strains of music have been heard drifting through the ballroom, even when no one is there. Some have even reported feeling the soft brush of a hand against their arm, as though the spirit of a long-dead passenger is inviting them to join in one last dance. The boiler room is yet another location where dark, supernatural energy seems to linger. The oppressive heat of the room, combined with the dark, twisting pipes and machinery, creates a foreboding atmosphere that has left many visitors feeling uneasy. Ghostly apparitions have been reported wandering the corridors near the boiler room, their figures faint and shadowy. Some claim to have heard the clanging of metal or the hiss of steam, despite the ship's engines having been shut down for decades. The spirits of the crew members who once toiled in these hot, claustrophobic conditions are believed to still linger, unable to leave the place where they spent so much of their lives. Throughout the ship, there are countless stories of disembodied voices, footsteps, and mysterious shadows that seem to move on their own. Some visitors have reported hearing their names whispered in the dark, only to turn around and find no one there. Doors creak open on their own, lights flicker, and strange orbs of light have been captured in photographs. The spirits of the Queen Mary are restless, and their presence is felt by anyone who ventures aboard. Paranormal investigators from all over the world have flocked to the Queen Mary, eager to explore its haunted halls and document the supernatural activity that seems to pervade every corner of the ship. Many have captured eerie EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, of ghostly voices, strange apparitions on thermal cameras, and unexplainable temperature fluctuations. The ship's long and tragic history, combined with the sheer number of deaths that occurred aboard, has made it a magnet for the supernatural. Today, the Queen Mary operates as both a hotel and a tourist attraction, offering haunted tours that take visitors to the most active paranormal hotspots on the ship. For those brave enough to stay overnight, the ship offers a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to sleep in rooms where the spirits of the past still roam. The ship's eerie atmosphere, combined with its rich history, creates an experience that is both thrilling and terrifying. The Queen Mary is more than just a relic of a bygone era. It is a living, breathing entity, where the past and present collide in a chilling dance of life and death. The ship's ghostly residents, once passengers and crew members, now spend eternity drifting between the world of the living and the dead, forever bound to the ship that was once their home. For those who visit the Queen Mary, it is an encounter with the unknown, a journey into the heart of a ghost ship where the echoes of the past still resonate, and the shadows of history are never far behind. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, one thing is certain: the Queen Mary is a place like no other, where the stories of the dead continue to haunt the living, and where the line between reality and the supernatural is tantalizingly blurred.